Alright guys, today we're back with another video. Because of the 12 or 11 hour time difference between Alex and I, you'll occasionally get these videos where you either have one of us or the other talking about something that's happened recently. Today we're going to be talking about a story which came in a few days ago and I kind of wanted to do a video on straight away, but wanted to see if anything would materialize from it or if it would just be a flash in the pan. For those of you unfamiliar with the program on the BBC called Top Gear, that's the UK version, not to be confused with the US version or the Australian version, both of which are terrible, you'd know that recently Jeremy Clarkson has got himself in a spot of bother. This resulted from him having a bit of a row with one of the producers of the show, where Clarkson allegedly, I say allegedly because it's all still working through the works, as Clarkson's suspended pending an investigation. But the thing is, Jeremy Clarkson is like a very bombastic individual who is the main reason that people tune into Top Gear. Now, for those of you unfamiliar with Top Gear, I will be providing a link in the description, as we always strive to do on this channel. And one of the things you'll notice is he's responsible for the highest grossing show that the BBC UK has ever had. Recently, Top Gear made a profit, now it was a profit, of approximately £19 million. I say approximate because the site where they bring up all these figures, it's usually somewhere between 18 point something and 19.4. It depends exactly on how you do the math, and the BBC doesn't usually release those figures until the end of the year. One of the main problems, though, with the way the BBC is handling the situation is that they've decided not to air the next 2 or 3 episodes in the current season. I forget if it's 2 or 3. But I don't see why, one, you would punish the fan base of your most popular show. And if the episodes have already been filmed, then why not just show them? I mean, you're going to make money off them anyway. And if you end up sacking Clarkson, you may as well get all the last bits of money you can get out of it, because more people are going to watch it than usual, thinking, maybe this will be the last time that we get to tune in on a Sunday afternoon and watch Clarkson and Hammond and May do what they do. And there's also seems to be a lot of speculation as to what the show would do were they to get rid of Jeremy Clarkson. Personally, I think the show would simply crash and burn. Not just because Jeremy's not there, but because you need the trio. You need James May, Richard Hammond, Jeremy Clarkson. Because the show itself, although the name would suggest it's about cars, which it is, but for the most part, it's about 3 guys who get along and kind of don't get along at the same time. Basically, just taking the piss out of things, and occasionally they review a car. And for those of you who have never seen the show, you have to watch it. I would personally recommend starting with some of the challenges they do. Some of those notable ones are having to buy a car for £100, or having to create an amphibious vehicle, which they tried to cross the English Channel with. It's incredibly entertaining. Now, people are going to say, who are familiar with the show, that Clarkson, he makes racist remarks, and that he's prejudiced towards cyclists, and just that he's generally a bad person. Now, what these people don't understand is that Top Gear isn't a show about promoting diversity or being super politically correct all the time. In fact, a lot of their news segments involve making fun of things that are rather politically correct, or things that they consider part of the quote-unquote nanny state. One of their best examples of this was when they had a competition to send in the most ridiculous motorway or B road or signs in your town or municipality that are simply there because someone's trying to cover themselves. Now, this idea that Clarkson will get ousted for punching a producer in the face, okay? Now, we don't know what the fight was about. We know it had something to do with the food or refreshments or something along those lines that was supposed to be prepared for the 3 stars of the show while they were doing some filming for the upcoming series. Now, the BBC has not been forthcoming with the exact details of the event. This makes it very difficult to speculate on to what will actually happen. It also is a problem because all that people see in the newspaper is crazy Clarkson punched someone in the face. Now, the thing too, right, is Clarkson was supposedly on a last warning from the BBC from some comments that he had made or a few off-color jokes that had happened during a few series or a few episodes that people had complained about. First point about that. If you don't like what someone's saying on a show, don't write a letter to the people who make the show. You know what you can do? There's this magic device, okay? I don't know if you guys know about this. This is pretty advanced technology, okay? What you can do is you can take this magic rectangle that has buttons on it, and what it'll let you do is change the channel so you can have different pictures coming into the magic box in your living room. I mean, this is the same, in my mind anyway, as people calling up because a comedian had a go at, I don't know, religion or some political figure. And Clarkson, I find, a lot of the time, is like many comedians. In some ways, he's better. Because his jokes are always topical, and they're not stilted. There's a general remark about something that actually happened. And the part that he makes humorous, more than often, turns out to be true. And there's also, here's the thing too with this. It's a joke. When people accuse him of being racist or sexist or in some way discriminatory, a lot of the problem they don't understand is that those require malicious intent. It's like when, you're sitting around with your friends and people, you start getting into some off-color joke or some jokes that are on the darker side. Say along the lines of a Jimmy Carr or Frankie Boyle, if we're going to go to that extreme. But the people listening to them understand that it's a joke, which means that it's not offensive. It's just designed to make you think about what you're saying. One of the notable ones people bring up, though, when they say that he's being a racist, is the claim that he's using racial slurs. There are 2 examples that people like to cite a lot for this. One is a particular scene where he's doing the correct, I shouldn't say correct, historically accurate version of the eeny, meeny, miny, moe rhyme. In the original rhyme, it's not catch a tigger by the toe. And if you can't surmise what the actual word is, then I don't really think that you have the capacity to weigh in on this subject. And when he did say it, he got to that point. He's like, eeny, meeny, miny, moe, catch her by the toe, is what he said. He mumbled through the word because he didn't want to say it on television. Which that's an argument from another time. Is whether or not people should be afraid to say certain words. Because if that's the word for it, that's the word for it. This, just to talk about it a little bit, that's like, why is it acceptable to say fire retardant, but people think it's not acceptable to say mentally retarded? Because the root word in retardant is, well, it's to retard, or that which retards. And to retard something is to slow it. Retardation is the slowing. So when we say mental retardation, what you're implying is that there's some mental faculty which operates slower than it ought to, or slower than the average person. Say though, it's just a word. And in fact, that word's actually coming back, particularly in some medical circles. Anyway, I digress. But he mumbled through the word because he decided, you know what, I'm not going to say this on television. You know what, that's his choice. But what some people did was they basically went, well, if you turn it up to about 100 times louder than anyone would ever listen to it, bring and modify the, I want to say the stream, but it's not the right word. The stream of his voice coming through in the sound, and you enhance it 3 or 4 different ways, which is something no one would ever do in their entire life, and said you can almost hear him saying the word that's in the historically accurate rhyme. So what? That's just people looking to make trouble. I mean, if you want to do that, that's like saying, okay, take Battlestar Galactica. Every time they say frack, we all know what they're saying. Alright, and if someone out there seriously thinks that they really just mean, oh, what the frack? Then, like, you need to get your head examined. So, yeah, like this whole thing with Clarkson, personally, I think that he's going to be reinstated because there's currently a petition circulating that's probably by now, or by the time this goes up, will be at approximately 400 million signatures. I think right now it's around 360 odd million. I don't know. I just checked it this morning, so maybe at 400 million now, for all I know. I'll try to post a link to that in the description as well. Like I say, you know, even the first